Whoever was responsible for the failure of defense and security and the breach of that institution or facility will face the consequence.
Federal government takes measures to incapacitate terrorists, bandits, and criminal gangs in Nigeria.
The integrated personnel and payroll information system, the human resource part of this.
Nigeria saves 200 billion naira annually as proceeds from civil service reforms.
Those who have now obtained the minimum be now allowed to be used in the next examination.
And multiple years validity period for candidates seeking admission may soon be achieved as JAMB Act amendment scales second reading in the House of Representatives. Good evening and thanks for joining us on NTA Network News. I'm Cyril Stover in Abuja. Hingino John Adams is in Lagos. And you can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Far-reaching measures are being considered by the federal government towards controlling and containing all criminal activities undermining national security and stability. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, announced this while briefing journalists after a meeting of the National Security Council. He said when finalized, terrorists, bandits, and other criminal gangs will be incapacitated from executing their activities. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the report.
National Security Council meeting summoned by President Muhammadu Buhari reviewed all aspects of the nation's security situation. Apart from the recent attack on the Kuje Medium Custodial Facility in the FCT, the criminal gangs have also not relented in attacking soft targets in parts of the country, abducting people and demanding ransom payment.
We had extensive discussions on every aspect of issues concerning security and insecurity in Nigeria. It shows the concern and the commitment of the federal government to the security of the Nigerian people. That I must emphasize.
Consequently, far-reaching resolutions were developed for consideration arising from the issues critically analyzed. These include the possibility of restricting the use and distribution of motorcycles as the most logistical means being deployed by terrorists, as well as the suspension of mining activities as possible sources of terrorist financing.
The major consideration and the basis for determination of productivity or otherwise is the national interest. We are Nigerians because Nigeria as a country exists. And any issue that at the end of the day will translate to threat on the national security, corporate existence of a country requires for certain sacrifices. So regardless of the means that is being considered for perhaps a possible banning, provided what matters is a sacrifice that will see us through addressing the security challenges, I think no sacrifice is too big as far as that issue is concerned. And above all, if you are talking of perhaps banning the motorcycles, for example, I believe the component or perhaps the number of people that could be using the motorcycle in Nigerian state may not be up to 20% of the Nigerian population. So if the 20% of the Nigerian population is called upon to now make certain sacrifices for the purpose of addressing a challenge, a security challenge that is all-pervading, affecting over 200 million Nigerians. That sacrifice, to my mind, is indeed a sacrifice worthy of being considered.
In the meantime, the Interior Minister, Rauf Aregbesola, confirmed that interim report in respect of the ongoing investigation of the attack on Kuje Custodial Center has been forwarded to President Muhammadu Buhari.
We identify all those whose action or inaction led to that unfortunate incident. Whoever was responsible for the failure of defense and security and the breach of that institution or facility will face the consequence.
Mr. President has specifically made mention of the implication of these threats to famine in our country. And he has directed government should take all technological and administrative measures to ensure that our farmers do actually go back to their farms to ensure that we have food in this country to eat and to export.
The National Security Council meeting was the second in 2 weeks and fourth in the year 2022. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And to give quality medical care to military personnel, especially those in the front line of fighting insurgents, all health facilities under the Ministry of Defense are to be upgraded. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that this is in line with the presidential directive to reform the military in all aspects.
Confronted with emerging and dynamic security challenges in different parts of the country, with the military involved in internal security operations. The quest to suppress these threats requires a highly motivated military, so immediate reforms in the Ministry of Defense has taken off, commencing with the health sector.
The essence is to review the state of our facilities, medical personnel, inadequate equipment, and the parallel health care delivery services with a view to upgrading our facilities, recruiting more personnel, and to boost the morale of the armed forces and the civilians alike.
We are focusing on operational efficiency in order for us to reposition the armed forces health facilities for optimal performance and operational efficiency.
And for us that we've been engaged.
To the Chief of Defense Staff, health is a critical component in boosting the morale of a military personnel in achieving success on the field.
The most important of the three components of warfighting is the moral component. The conceptual and the physical can only be possible if the moral component is right. And critical to this is healthcare.
The reform entails general review of the military health system and facilities with a view to upgrade the system in line with global standard. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And staying with reforms, the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieso, has been speaking on the reforms of the civil service aimed at improving services to the nation and helping the government in the prosecution of its programs. Dr. Yemieso, at the 44th session of the State House briefing series, says the reforms being carried out are saving the country close to 200 billion naira annually. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The public service is seen as the engine room for national development, an organ of government through which the state executes its plans, policies, and programs. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieso, says the plan is aimed at devolving a crop of skilled, motivated, disciplined, innovative performance and merit-oriented civil servants, and also expected to change the negative perception in Nigerian civil service and lead to effective driving of the Nigerian socio-economic development. She speaks on the 6 pillars upon which this plan is built.
The first one is capability building and talent management. The second is performance management system. The third is integrated personnel and payroll information system, the human resource part of this. The fourth is innovation. Fifth is digitalization of content in the service. And the sixth, but also very important, maybe the most important, is staff welfare and enhancing value proposition for civil servants.
She said her office had initiated various programs to support workers' development in and out of service and advised others to do same for their workers. On the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System, IPIS, she explains that the system has helped in sanitizing the payment system. 61,446 officers in the core MDAs have been verified.
Social media, you just see it popping up. recruitment, Federal Civil Service Commission. This is it is all a lie. So we need to be more careful.
Folashade Yemi also speaks on the pitfalls in the system that has led to the prosecution of some career officers.
We are learning lessons from all those things as a body of permanent secretaries. And the good thing is that the permanent secretaries we have today are not transactional permanent secretaries anymore. They are transformative permanent secretaries.
In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has canvassed a review of the curriculum in colleges of education to attract more enrollment. This was at a meeting with the Committee of Chairmen of Federal Colleges of Education. Ignatius Nkwo reports.
It was the first courtesy call on the President of the Senate after the resumption of National Assembly from summer break. With challenges of industrial conflict in tertiary institutions, this engagement is seen as an important one. The focal point here for President of the Senate was on the urgent need to return students to school, as he urged relevant authorities to consider a review of the curriculum in the colleges of education to attract more enrollment. The committee agrees with the idea and also sought the amendment of the Federal Colleges of Education Establishment Act.
If we have to reverse the present trend, it means we have to review even what we teach in most of our institutions. And similarly, our polytechnics, maybe some of the things they do these days, I think maybe required that the legislature should look into it. A polytechnic will now be given certificates in education, in everything, usurping some of the functions of the colleges of education.
Our funding is so insignificant that even where the colleges rely on ITR, the ITR is not forthcoming because they are not students that we can use.
Meanwhile, Minority Leader of the Senate, Senator Philip Aduda, says the People's Democratic Party caucus in the Senate will embark on reconciliatory engagement as it has resolved to meet aggrieved members.
The PDP caucus of the Senate resolved to meet the presidential candidate of our party and his vice presidential candidate, the running mate, to achieve cohesion and total peace in our party.
The caucus noted that the party needs unity and cohesion ahead of the 2023 general elections. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Still from the legislature, the House of Representatives is set to amend the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board Act with a proposal of 4 years as a period of validity for candidates to use JAM results to apply for admission. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the bill passed second reading during Thursday's plenary.
Debate on the bill seeking to amend the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board Act was robust as House members expressed strong disapproval of the current practice where candidates, despite scoring the cut-off mark but unable to obtain admission, are compelled to again sit for the same exams.
JAM is valid for one entry, and if you don't get in, you repeat it again. It is totally unfair.
Should there be victims of the fact that we've not provided enough universities to have an intake of every child that has passed?
Those who have now obtained the minimum be now allowed to be used in the next examination. Our poor parents that suffer to pay for these children should also be looked into.
The House also urged JAMB to organize mop-up exams for candidates whose participation in the 2022-2023 exams was marred by technical glitches. Other bills passed at second reading include Bill to establish Nigeria Police Academy Duku in Gombe State, sponsored by Aisha Duku. Bill to establish David Umahi Federal University Uburu, Ebonyi State, from Chinedu Oga, and the bill to establish Federal Institute for Diving Technology in Sokebolu, Delta State, sponsored by Julius Pondi. Plenary featured the adoption of a resolution to investigate the recent prison break at Kuje Custodial Center as moved by Sha'aban Sharada.
The Kuje Custodial Center attack
and its terrible outcome, along with several related crimes against the national security, are on the increase, despite the stakeholder commitment towards equipping the national security enforcement and intelligence community with significant appropriation of funds.
The motion from Benilar urging authorities to restore peace between warring communities in Langtang, North Plateau State was adopted.
If nothing is done to intervene and restore lasting peace in these communities, these reoccurring communal clashes will continue unabated and lead to further loss of lives and property.
In the meantime, an ad hoc committee will be set up to investigate all joint venture operations and production sharing contracts in the oil and gas sector from 1990 to ascertain whether implementation was within legal provisions. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAMB), heads of tertiary education institutions and other stakeholders in the education sector in the country have announced the minimum cutoff mark for admissions in the 2022-2023 academic session. Olainka Uju reports.
2021, tertiary institutions in Nigeria were unable to conduct the 2021 admissions within the time frame due to constraints occasioned by COVID-19 pandemic. The industrial action by ASU is also affecting some of the processes, including the 2021 academic calendar. Now, in this auditorium are policymakers in the admission process from tertiary institutions across the country, and the decision to take here will determine the fate of more than 1 million candidates who sat for the 2022 UTME.
Anybody who says, I want to admit 180, should we take it or should we say no, the minimum should go up to 140 or 150?
And after thorough debate by all stakeholders, the minimum national cutoff mark for admissions into universities in Nigeria was pegged at 140, for polytechnics 120, while that of colleges of education is 100. Minister of Education Adamu Adamu urged all institutions to adhere strictly to all admission regulations using the Central Admission Processing System or face sanctions, as there will no longer be room for illegal admissions anymore.
I must reiterate my stance that no violator would go unpunished, even after he or she must have completed their tenure of office.
At the end of the policy meeting, the stakeholders agreed that the 31st of December 2022 is the closing date for admissions for the 2022-2023 academic session for all tertiary institutions in the country. Olainka Uju, NTA News.
In time for our first break, the news continues shortly. Thanks for staying with us. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has solicited the support and cooperation of the Lagos State Government in hosting the upcoming maiden UNWTO Global Conference on Tourism, Culture and the Creative Industry scheduled for Lagos this November. This was the high point of discussions when the minister led some members of the conference planning committee on a courtesy visit to the governor. Anthony Fosun reports.
State Southwest Nigeria is one of the 36 states. It is both the most populous and smallest in area. However, it has remained Africa's major financial center, standing as the economic hub of Nigeria. With this capacity, it stands as the most favored to host the maiden global conference, which will attract top executives of the United Nations World Tourism Organization, ministers of tourism, culture, arts, and creative industries from 166 member states. Hence the visit by the Information and Culture Minister.
The essence of this visit, Your Excellency, is to formally inform you about the global conference and the role of Lagos State as the host, which we have summarized in a letter which I will personally deliver today at the end of this address. I wish to put on record that the government of Lagos State has continually demonstrated its commitment to our sector, that is tourism and culture.
He explained the benefits Nigeria stands to gain from the hosting right. Apart from the global recognition the country has earned, the minister said,
countries bid to host events such as this because of the socio-economic benefits. Hence, our hosting of this conference provides an opportunity to, among other things, showcase Nigeria's tourism, culture, and creative assets, project Nigeria's image as a safe and desirable destination for leisure and business.
Lai Mohammed, however, expressed gratitude for the Lagos State government's commitment and support in rehabilitating the iconic National Theatre, which will host the conference. Responding, the Lagos State governor expressed the state's willingness to partner with the federal government to ensure a successful conference.
We on arts and culture know that we cannot do it all. So we're partnering also with the private sector. From an economic perspective, we have to do it. We have to ensure that we give the opportunity, the space for the teeming youth population that we have in that industry. And it's a wild employer of labor.
In Lagos, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Nigeria has pledged continued support to the Global Fund for fighting HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria, which are considered to be among the world's deadliest diseases. This was when a delegation of the Global Fund was granted audience at the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Mitaire Ipen tells us more.
The Global Fund invests an average of $4 billion annually to fight HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria around the world. Nigeria and about 80 other countries contribute huge financial resources to the Global Fund to accelerate the fight against the three diseases and also strengthen public health systems. The Global Fund's delegation is at the presidency to solicit greater commitment from Nigeria as a donor and recipient of the fund.
For the last replenishment, Nigeria was kind enough to commit 12 million US dollar. We are requesting the country to step up the effort and commit at least more than 30% of that.
I will also discuss with the AGF to probably take it up with Mr. President to direct that we step up our domestic resources as requested.
We're looking to making sure that no resources are allocated to other countries that are belonging to Nigeria or were originally allocated to Nigeria.
The Global Fund has so far committed $1.2 billion to fight HIV/AIDS, malaria and tuberculosis in Nigeria. In Abuja, Mitaire Ipen, NTA News.
Despite the global shocks and supply chain disruptions occasioned by COVID-19 pandemic, Boa Cement Company has made giant strides by making a profit before tax of 102.9 billion naira for the 2021 financial year. This is the thrust of the company's annual general meeting with its board of directors and shareholders in Abuja. Abdullahi Musa Suleja reports.
No doubt, the advent of COVID-19 at the beginning of the year 2020 is said to have affected businesses worldwide. While some businesses count losses, Boa Cement recorded a 22.9% rise in revenue to 257.3 billion naira from 209.4 billion naira in year 2020. This result gives confidence to stakeholders as the cement continues to grow stronger in the marketplace.
Thanks to our able management and the shareholders, I'd rather be seen as one of the top givers back to the society, because being the richest or one of the richest, yes, sometimes you feel it is good, but how much have you impacted the society? I think that is more important.
Stakeholders expressed satisfaction with the performance as well as the vision of the management under its chairman, Alhaji Abdul Samad Rabia.
This is one of the investments that you can put your money in and go and rest.
It doesn't surprise anyone that is close to you about the tremendous progress we are making in Nigeria's economic landscape.
You create employment for many Nigerians and food for shareholders. If we have 5 of you in Nigeria, we won't suffer at all.
The cost of this, producing the cement has gone up on diesel alone by about 800 naira per bag. And we have maintained, at least within reason, a price of maybe just about 200 or 250 naira increase since last year. We are trying very hard to ensure that we do not pass all this additional cost to consumers.
The board approved a dividend of 260 naira per ordinary share. The annual general meeting endorsed the re-election of 3 directors of the company after retiring on rotation, as well as authorizing them to fix the remuneration of the company's audit committee. Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
920 beneficiaries drawn from the 3 senatorial districts of Ondo State are undergoing training and set to access funds from the second batch of the federal government and International Fund for Agricultural Development Funds window. Abiola Rio reports.
In April this year, 260 youths in the first batch successfully graduated and were empowered in various agricultural enterprises of their choice. 32-years-old Ayodeji Abegunda, a physics and electronics graduate from Adekunle Ajasin University, Akungba Akoko, is among the selected that will be trained for the next 3 months.
I don't have opportunity of doing something that can fetch money for me like that.
International Fund for Agricultural Development Project Coordinator in Ondo State, Mr. Adewale Ademola, said participants were drawn from 10 local government areas of the state, with 10 communities from each local government.
We do the follow-up. We ensure that those that are interested in agribusiness, in farming, are the ones that are being empowered.
If they take the golden opportunity very well, it will help them to grow. They will be able to provide more food for themselves and for the people.
The beneficiaries will be trained on cocoa farming, cassava farming, fishery and poultry keeping.
To have more knowledge on how to raise these birds, poultry birds, how to take care of them, and it's source of income for me.
They want to empower the youth.
In Akure, Abiola Rio, NTA News.
The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission is leveraging on wide reach of the National Orientation Agency to commence nationwide advocacy on ending electricity theft and vandalism of power infrastructure in the country. The 2 federal agencies signed a memorandum of understanding where NOA will lead advocacy to electricity consumers across the country on the need to take responsibility and protect power infrastructure. Also, part of the collaboration is for NOA to enlighten electricity consumers on interventions of the federal government as well as regulatory framework to improve power supply and stabilize the industry.
Create a vehicle whereby we have a platform where Nigerians are educated on the issues in the sector, issues of safety, issues of electricity theft.
So in the course of this expansion of this conversation, we also try to bring out the facts as they are, let the cards on the table face up for citizens to see. In the process, attempt to bridge the trust deficit so that all of us will be on the same ship sailing towards the same cost of national development.
So going forward, we need to work together to ensure that we meet our collective mandate of ensuring that all customers in this country are satisfied.
To safety on the roads now, motorists risk suspension of their driver's licenses once arrested for traffic offences. Corps Marshal Boboye Oyemi revealed this at the 9th FRSC lecture series and first Corps Marshal valedictory session with the theme FRSC Past, Present and Future. Oyemi Ajay reports.
This is one of the last major engagements of Boboye Oyeyemi as the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps. Safety on the Nigerian roads still remains paramount to him. This time, the Corps is coming harder on road offenders with stiffer penalties to be meted out to them.
Right, we introduce the digital license. It's being gazetted. The gazette will come out tomorrow. So that means you don't need to be carrying your license again. You can have it on your phone for a fee. It's not free. It is not free. It's for a fee. So, but the law presently will allow you to hold both the hard copy and the digital one.
Road crashes remain one of the leading causes of death globally, and in Nigeria, the Federal Road Safety Corps reveals that 41,709 persons lost their lives to road crashes between 2013 and 2020, aside the fact that 52% of crashes are speed-induced.
And reiterate the commitment of President Muhammad Buhari's administration to the Federal Road Safety Corps in achieving a country where road traffic crash results to no deaths.
So, recklessness on motorists would not be tolerated, especially holding of phones while driving. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
The shutting down of operations of the over 60 years of aero contractors and the indefinite suspension of Dana Airlines have ripple effects on already lean air services. Aviation correspondent Emmanuel Ayimi was at the domestic wing of the Abuja airport for an update on the status of the two ailing airlines.
It's evening, the period when flight frequencies are usually high as most domestic airlines prepare to close for the day. However, it's a different stroke for different passengers as those boarding are seen smiling, while the suspended Dana airline passengers are having a great ordeal.
Cancel a flight and you did not say anything, maybe to me it looks indefinite. So I said, let me just come here to see what's going on. So on getting here, I wasn't even bothered about the money. I just want a flight. I want to go back home to meet my kids. But I could not even secure any. And what I was told, the next flight is going to be on Monday.
We had to wait through till 12 a.m. The last flight came in from Lagos around 12:20. We were hopeful that this was the last flight and we're going to get on our flight and go down to Lagos. Only for us to be told that about 10 minutes to 1 a.m. that the plane was not only going to not fly from Abuja, but that Dana had been suspended. And all the while, we were there in the airport, no communication, no notification that the flight will have been cancelled.
They said tomorrow. So we are hoping that by tomorrow, we'll start getting a refund from Dana here.
An aviation expert, Olumide Ohunayo, lauded the decision of aero contractors for resting operation and not constituting safety concern due to economic challenges.
I think I give them credit for that and the ability to boldly say, now it's time to cut off this leprous arm, and the industry should look forward to the return of a bigger and stronger aero.
It means that we have a challenge and that we're likely to have one such in the demand. The other airlines that are running are definitely going to increase fares for those other airlines.
NCAA has, however, been commended for suspending Dana Airlines that has failed integrity tests for the sake of safety of the industry. Emmanuel Ayemi, NTA News.
Now for more reports on network news, let's go over to Lagos Center and join Hingino. Hingino.
Thank you, Cyril. The Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Mariam Katagum, is calling on key players in the pharmaceutical industry to take advantage of the trade-related intellectual property rights strip waiver on the production of COVID-19 vaccine to grow and institutionalize standards in this sector. This became imperative as the quest to rid the Nigerian markets of fake medical devices intensifies. Michael Alale reports.
The challenges of residing in a metropolitan city like Lagos are enormous, but most worrisome for residents like Ifeanyi is identifying genuine products in the midst of many begging for attention. His cousin was once a victim of fake drug that almost ended her life.
I had a cousin that had a leg injury,
So she decided to go to a nearby chemist to get drugs for the injury. So after taking the drugs, she noticed that the leg started swelling, started affecting the other parts.
Beyond experiencing that ugly scenario are issues revolving around standardization in the pharmaceutical industry, and the federal government is working on a solution known as Health Industries Corporation of Nigeria, HICON, to provide enabling environment that will attract investments for the growth and development of pharmaceutical infrastructure in the country.
This therefore calls for regular updates of applicable standards in line with international best practices, strict regulatory regime, and an ingenious approach to preventing the importation, manufacture, and distribution of substandard pharmaceuticals and medical devices.
Still basking in the euphoria of an approval for its return to the CPOs, the Standards Organization of Nigeria says reaping the gains in the pharmaceutical market in Africa, which is expected to reach $45 billion, must start with engraving the seal of standards on anything coming out from Africa.
Our main effort to sensitize people about standards is to bring us to the level where we're able to compete, we're able to produce, and we're able to economically survive.
The Deputy Vice Chancellor at the University of Benin, Professor Ray Ozola, believes with increase in enforcement and public enlightenment, the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria will deliver the gains of standardization. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
One of Nigeria's staple food, bread, will be off the shelves for some days as bakers have resolved to commence a 4-day warning strike to press home their demands for reduction in prices of baking materials. Bakery owners say the decision was reached after several deliberations. Abolade Salami reports.
Statistics hazard that Nigeria's bread subsector is growing at a faster pace, with 72% of the multi-millionaire market dominated by small and medium-scale bakers. The vast market opportunities in the industry is attributed to the volume of consumption, as packaged bread mill grew at 3.4% relative to the 2.3% growth rate of unpackaged bread. This figure may likely drop as operators in the business seem not to be on the same page this time around with manufacturers of flour and other baking materials, owing to the hike in prices of commodities coupled with other charges.
Because the flour is too cost. Before it was 17,500, but now it's 30,000. Now this 300 naira bread at all. Why? Because of the flour, sugar, butter, and other ingredients that we use. Good. One bag is how much? 30,000. And you were buying it from them 10,000, 12,000, 15,000.
Since the sharp increment in prices of baking materials, packaged bread is now sold between 700 to 1,000 naira, while unpackaged bread now goes for 200 and 500 naira, depending on their sizes.
We are selling small bread 150, but now the big one is 350. So small one is 300. 250.
It's very sad because bread is one thing we Nigerians don't joke about. Especially me, I don't joke about bread. So it's just like they should come together and then just find a solution to dissolve this whole strike about bread.
In an effort to sustain the market and daily production level for consumption, the need for all concerned bodies to, as a matter of urgency, resolve the impasse stakeholders identify as crucial. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for another break. The news will be back shortly.
Back in Abuja now, the Rivers State government has signed a contract with Julius Berger for the construction of 2 more flyover bridges and dualization of 2 inner roads. This, the governor says, is a demonstration of his resolve to continue to uphold his social contract with the Rivers people.
The 2 flyover bridges, the 11th and 12th by Governor Wike, will be situated at Ikwere Road around Rumokuta Roundabout and the next at location axis of Ozoba NTA Road. Governor Wike says the new flyover bridges will be constructed simultaneously with the dualization of Azikiwe and Ilabuchi roads. The governor promised that the bridges will be completed in 10 months, while the road dualization will be through in about 6 months.
Our services to the people will end on May 29th, 2023. And so for us, it is services to the people until we buy out in May 29, 2023.
I want to, on behalf of the Board and Executive Management of Julius Berger, thank His Excellency the Governor of River State for trusting Julius Berger's expertise.
The signing of the contract brings the total number of flyover bridges initiated by the Wike-led administration to 12. 4 out of the 12 have been inaugurated, while 6 are at different levels of completion. In Port Harcourt, Oge Dinyekwe, NTA News.
And now it's Benny and business. That's next business. Benny?
Thank you and welcome to business. We start by telling you that making Nigeria a top destination for global private capital is a duty of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission and is committed to delivering it as Nigeria competes with more than 170 investment promotion agencies around the globe for foreign direct investment. The new NIPC Executive Secretary Saratu Umar says her team will work to add on the $223.3 million foreign direct investment attracted to the country between January to May this year.
NIPC will be a strong public institution with a private sector orientation that delivers effective and efficient services that exceed the expectations of all stakeholders in the investment ecosystem and indeed in Nigeria.
And on the markets, the Nigerian equities saw another bearish close, dipping by 0.12% as the monetary policy rate hike further dampened sentiment in the stock market. Investors lost more than 35 billion naira as the all-share index and market capitalization decreased further from preceding day's highs of 52,186.52 points to 52,122 points. 151.9 million shares traded in 3,447 deals had the value of 2.1 billion naira. Guarantee Trust Corporation, UBA, and UACN led in volume of shares. That is business news. Network news continues with Cyril.
Thank you, Benny. The Buhari Media Organization says the federal government's inspired transition of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) to a private limited liability company is a landmark achievement. In a statement, chairman of the group, Niyi Akinshiju, noted that for many years efforts were made to unbundle the NNPC and make it run more efficiently as a company, but to no avail. The group therefore commended President Muhammadu Buhari for showing visionary leadership and having the political will to do what previous administrations could not do by not only enacting the Petroleum Industry Act, but going a step further to support and facilitate the transformation of NNPC to Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. Time now for another quick break. Welcome back. As the dust of the 2022 Africa Cycling Championship track in Abuja settles, Chukwunonso Nwabueze in this special report reviews the steady growth of the sport on the continent. President Muhammadu Buhari has condoled with Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya of Gombe State on the death of his younger sister Hajia Aishatu Yahaya Umaru. In a statement, President Buhari said the late Hajia Aishatu had made noteworthy contributions to further social empowerment in her community, for which she will be remembered by so many people. And he prayed Allah to accept her soul and reward her good deeds. Similarly, President Buhari extends heartfelt condolences to the family of Ambassador Isaac Sagi on the passing of their patriarch and former Nigerian High Commissioner to Ghana and Ambassador to Spain, with concurrent accreditation to the Holy See, the Vatican. The president joins members of the Olare Aja family of Sage clan in mourning their father, uncle and illustrious son who served the nation dutifully as a foreign service officer, reaching the pinnacle of his diplomatic career as an ambassador. In each of his ambassadorial roles, the president notes that Ambassador Sage was a dedicated and thoughtful diplomat who provided exemplary leadership as head of Nigeria's mission of the group of ECOWAS consultants and observers that diplomatically addressed the very contentious post-war presidential elections in Liberia and Sierra Leone. And President Muhammadu Buhari has condoled with Senator Ali Ndume over the death of his father, Buba Ndume. In a message to Senator Ndume, President Buhari said he was touched by the passing of Buba Ndume, describing him as a gentleman whose outstanding qualities can be seen in the conduct of his own children. He prayed that Allah forgives his shortcomings and rewards his noble deeds. Similarly, the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has described late Alhaji Ali Buba Ndume, father of Senator Muhammad Ali Ndume, as a true nationalist who contributed to the peace-building process of the country. He said this in Maiduguri. Abubakar Musa reports.
Senate President Senator Ahmed Lawan, accompanied by some members of the National Assembly, including the Chief Whip of the House of Representatives, Mohammed Tahir Mongunu, as well as other top government officials, were at the residence of Senator Muhammad Ali Ndume to sympathize with the federal lawmaker over the death of his father, Alhaji Ali Buba Ndume, in Maiduguri.
On behalf of all my distinguished senators, colleagues, we condole once again with our friend, brother and colleague, Senator Ndume, over this irreparable loss.
Also at the residence of the Senate Chairman on Nigerian Army were Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum and former Governor Ali Modu Sharif, former Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, among others, have also condoled Senator Ndume on the demise of his father. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Musa, NTA News.
First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, has expressed deep sadness over the death of the pioneer Deputy National Woman Leader of the All Progressives Congress in the Southwest Zone, Kemi Nelson, which occurred recently. She was 66. The First Lady, on her official social media handles, prayed that Almighty God would repose the soul of the late Kemi Nelson. Mrs. Buhari described her as a dogged fighter for women's participation in politics, who made enormous contributions to the stability of the APC and its victory. And that concludes Network News tonight. Thank you for watching. But remember, the fight against rape and rapists is still on. Stand with the NTA. I'm Cyril Stober. Good night.